The alley behind the diner always smelled like old grease and cold fries, and that's where little Nina lived her normal. Every evening, she dug through trash bags for half-eaten burgers and leftover fries, while the staff stood at the back door clowning her, calling her a stray kid. But Nina wasn't stealing for fun. She was feeding her mom. Up in a broken apartment, her mom Kara sat on a thin mattress, leg in a brace, brain damaged from a fire years ago. She always held one photo. Herself with a young man in a suit named Glenn Baker, a rich guy Nina didn't know was her dad. One day Kara almost got hit by a car. Inside that car, Glenn and his fiancée Rosie. They nearly ran her over, disrespected her, and Rosie even knocked Nina's hard-earned dinner into the dirt. Soon after, Nina collapsed and landed in the hospital. The doctor told her the truth. She has aggressive leukemia. The best chance to live, a bone marrow transplant from a biological parent. Kara finally admits Nina's father is Glenn Baker, heir of the powerful Baker Group. Nina goes to Glenn's mansion, but his cold grandmother Mabel shuts her down, steals Kara's only photo, and orders her to disappear. So Nina and her mom go to the hospital board, forcing them to officially contact Baker Group. Mabel secretly destroys the letter. With time running out, Nina takes the bus to Baker Group's tower and confronts Glenn face-to-face. He thinks it's a scam, throws money at her, until she collapses in his lobby. Scared, Glenn rushes her to the hospital, takes the DNA test, and the result is clear. He is her father, and now he has to decide if he'll finally show up and fight for the daughter he never knew. She is competition, Rosie snapped, mask dropping. Do you have any idea what it's like to be second place to a ghost for years, to a girl who wasn't even around anymore? And then she shows up with a kid, no less, and you just flip, you just throw everything away for them, for some broken little family on the edge of town. He stepped closer. Watch how you talk about them, he said. That broken little family is mine, she laughed bitterly. That's the problem, she said. You think you're some kind of hero now, saving the poor girl and her tragic mom. You're not. You're just a guy with a savior complex and too much money. He leaned on the table. I might be a lot of things, he said, but I'm not the one who tried to kill a child by spreadsheet. Her eyes flashed. That's a nice line, she said. Maybe your PR team can spin it into a statement when this blows up in your face. Think about that, Glenn. Think about Bob from the board and my father and every investor watching. A scandal like this. It won't just be my name in the headlines. It'll be Baker Group exec's ex-fiancée tampered with medical records. They will drag you through the mud, your stock will tank, your grandmother will have a stroke from the stress. Glenn's hand curled into a fist. Are you threatening me? He asked. I'm reminding you what's at stake, she said. You love that girl, fine, stay with her. But if you come after me publicly, she and her sick little story are going to be front-page clickbait over and over. Is that really what you want for her? He wanted to say yes. Wanted to say, I don't care, I'll burn it all down, but Nina's face flashed in his mind. The way she flinched at loud noises now, the way she hated needles. The way she crumpled a little whenever nurses whispered near the door. She didn't need strangers dissecting her life online. He took a breath. So here's how this is going to go, he said quietly. You're going to resign from everything. Every charity board, every Baker Group committee. You're going to move your mess as far away from us as possible. You're going to sign a nice agreement saying we decided not to pursue the engagement and it was mutual. And then you're going to disappear from my family's life, she scoffed. And if I don't, she asked. He slid another document forward. This one was a printout of a criminal statute, highlighted sections, a draft complaint. If you don't, he said, I will go to the police and the medical board and every regulator my lawyers can think of, and I'll make sure they see every email, every log, every bank transfer. She stared at the pages. You wouldn't dare, she whispered. Try me, he said. I already almost lost my kid once because of you. I don't have anything to lose when it comes to you anymore. Her throat worked. You'll regret this, she said finally. When the board turns on you, when your grandma realizes she could have had me instead of, she already realized she was wrong, he cut in. She met Nina, that's all it took. Rosie's eyes glistened, with anger, not regret. You're making a mistake, she said. I've made a lot of mistakes, he replied. This isn't one of them, silence. Then she pushed the papers back. I'll have my lawyer look at it, she said coolly. You do that, he said, take your time. Just know the clock's ticking. She grabbed her purse, paused at the door. You think this ends with your little fairy tale hospital reunion, she said. Life doesn't work like that, Glenn. People get tired, love fades. Kids grow up and resent you. Don't come crawling back when your charity project turns on you. He didn't answer. He just turned away. The door clicked shut behind her. He exhaled slowly. For the first time in years, he felt lighter. Still furious, still scared, but lighter. Back at the hospital, things were almost normal. They ordered takeout one night and smuggled it past the nurses. Hospital food tastes like regret, Nina declared. I need fries or I will perish. So dramatic, Glenn said, handing her a fry. You just survived chemo. I think you can handle a little bland chicken. I fought for my life, she said. I earned these fries. Kara watched them bicker, smiling. They had her transferred to a regular wheelchair now. Her leg with proper treatment had gotten stronger. Her mind, without constant stress, was clearer. Sometimes she caught herself humming while doing nothing. That felt wrong and right. Mom, Nina said, mouthful, if you start dating my dad again, can you not be weird about it? Kara choked on her soda. Glenn coughed. I what? Kara sputtered. Nina shrugged. Look, she said, I'm not dumb. You guys keep staring at each other when you think I'm asleep and whispering in hallways and going all old people soft about the past. Old people soft? Glenn repeated. That's rude. If the shoe fits, she said, smirking. Kara ran a hand over her face. We're just trying to figure things out, she said. There's a lot of history, Nina, a lot of hurt. Yeah, I know, Nina said. And I'm literally the product of that history, so maybe don't keep me out of the loop completely. She popped another fry. Speaking of loops, she added, Doc said something about a baby. Glenn nearly dropped his drink. You were supposed to be asleep when we talked about that, he said. The walls are thin, she said, and y'all don't whisper quiet. Kara turned bright red. He told you, she asked Dr. Long later, shooting Glenn a look. He didn't have to, Nina said. Y'all said cord blood like 5 times, I'm sick, not deaf. She leaned back against the pillows. So, she said, is that for real you're gonna have another kid? Kara bit her lip. We don't know yet, she said honestly. It's a big decision. It's not just about treatment, it's about life, our family, you. If you don't want it, Glenn added quickly, we're not forcing anything. You're not required to be okay with us turning you into a big sister as part of some medical plan. Nina was quiet, for once. She looked at her IV, at her shaved head, at her parents. You know what's wild, she said finally. I never even thought about being old enough to babysit someone. I was just trying to stay alive long enough to graduate middle school. Glenn's throat tightened. But Nina went on slowly. If a baby means my chances go up, not just for a few years, but like for real, I kinda wanna see what it's like to annoy a little brother or sister too. Kara's eyes filled. Are you sure? She asked. We don't want you to feel like we're replacing you or using a new baby like a spare part. Mom, Nina said, nobody is replacing me, I'm iconic. Also, if that kid ever says something slick, I'm telling them they were literally born to save me. That's like the ultimate big sister flex. Glenn choked out a laugh. She's serious, he said. I know, Kara said, wiping her eyes. That's the scary part, Nina softened. Look, she said, you guys already gave me life once. If you want to try to extend the subscription, I'm not gonna be mad at it. Just don't make the kid feel like a walking blood bag, okay? Let them be a regular chaos goblin too. Kara nodded, smiling through tears. We'd never treat them like just a cure, she said. They'd be our child completely. Glenn looked between them, his family. His messed up, patched together, precious little family. Okay then, he said quietly. We'll talk to Dr. Long about doing this the safest way, IVF, timing, everything, no secrets, no shady stuff. Everything above board. Nina pointed a fry at him. And no letting grandma or any board member make it weird, she said. If anyone tries to use the baby as leverage, I'm biting ankles. You don't have enough platelets to bite ankles, Glenn said. But message received. Later that night, after Nina finally fell asleep with a movie playing on her tablet, Glenn and Kara stepped into the hallway. The hospital was quieter, dimmed lights, distant beeps, soft footsteps of night staff. They stood by a big window overlooking the city. Lights twinkled, traffic hummed. Remember when we used to talk about leaving this place? Glenn said softly, running off somewhere warm, opening a little cafe. You baking me pretending I could fix broken chairs. You mean the Baker's Bakery plan? She said. He smiled. Yeah, he said. Terrible name. Kinda cute though, she said. They were quiet for a second. Do you hate me? He asked suddenly. She looked at him, startled. For what? She asked. For not finding you sooner, he said. For believing you were dead, for trusting Grandma's word over my own gut. For letting you raise our kid alone, for being late, she exhaled slowly. I hated you, she said, for a long time, or I thought I did. In the dark, when Nina was little and sick and I couldn't afford meds, I would picture your face and think, he did this. She paused. But now that I know what actually happened, she went on, I save most of that hate for other people, and for the system, and honestly for myself, for not fighting harder, for not screaming louder. For letting them ship me off and not clawing my way back to you. He shook his head. You were half conscious, he said, burned, grieving, you were in survival mode. Exactly, she said. So stop holding your 20-year-old self to a standard your 30-year-old self can barely hit. He snorted. That's fair, he admitted. She looked at the city. I don't hate you now, she said quietly. I'm scared of you, a little. Because you have the power to hurt us again, but I'm also grateful, because without you she'd already be gone. He swallowed. I'm not going to leave you again, he said. Either of you. We'll see, she said. It's not about what you say in hospital hallways. It's about where you are in 5 years, 10, when she's a teenager slamming doors and calling you cringe. He smiled. I'm weirdly looking forward to that, he said. She smiled back. Me too, she said. For a moment they just stood there. Not as exes, not as enemies, just as two tired parents borrowing a few quiet minutes between crises. Behind them, down the hall, Nina shifted in her sleep. The IV beeped, the city kept moving, life didn't magically fix. But for the first time, the future didn't feel like a wall. It felt like a road, messy, bumpy, but a road they might actually walk together. The idea of a new baby sounded simple when Dr. Long said it. Cord blood, stem cells, better odds, on paper clean, in real life messy as hell. Are we really doing this? They didn't decide in the hospital. Too many beeps. Too much bleach. They waited until discharge day. Nina was finally stable enough to move to an outpatient apartment near the hospital, one of those furnished places rich people used when they wanted to hover close to medical care. Nina called it the medical airbnb. First evening there, Glenn ordered takeout from 3 different places because he couldn't remember what Nina actually liked. She picked at fries and noodles and soup. Kara sat at the small kitchen table, a mug of tea in her hands. Glenn stood by the counter, clearly working up to something. Nina noticed. Okay, she said, pointing a fry at both of them. You two have been exchanging weird looks for an hour. Just say it before I call a family meeting. Glenn sighed. Bossy, he muttered. Genetics, she shot back. Kara set the mug down. All right, she said, we need to talk. For real, Nina flopped onto the couch. Oh boy, she said, this sounds serious. Should I get snacks or tissues? Maybe both, Glenn said. He sat across from her. Kara shifted her chair closer. You know the cord blood thing, Kara began, from the new baby. Yeah, Nina said. Dr. Dude explained it. DLC pack for my bone marrow. Glenn pinched the bridge of his nose. Please don't call it that, he said. What? She said. I'm coping. Kara smiled a tiny bit. We met with Dr. Long again, she said. Just us. He explained how it would work. IVF, hormone shots, egg retrieval, all the fun stuff. Nina made a face. Yikes, she said. That sounds intense. It is, Kara said, but it also lets them control timing, make sure the embryo is healthy, make sure the cord blood is collected and stored right away for you. Nina looked at Glenn. And you? She asked. What do you have to do? He shrugged. Less than your mom, he said. Blood work, genetic tests, a fun little room with magazines I'm definitely not going to talk about. Nina snorted. Gross, she said. Moving on, he laughed. Kara got serious again. The point is, she said, this is optional. It's a big thing for all of us. We don't want to do it if it makes you feel weird or less. Nina chewed on a fry, thinking. Do you even want another kid? She asked. Like, besides the medical stuff, do you actually want a baby with each other? That landed. Glenn and Kara looked at each other. Kara swallowed. Yes, she said slowly. I do. Not because you're not enough, but because there was a time we thought we'd have a house full of kids. Noise, chaos, life, that dream kind of burned up with the fire. I buried it. Glenn nodded. Same, he said. Honestly, I buried everything. Work was easier. Numbers don't ask why you disappeared, but seeing you two together, it woke something up. So yeah, I'd like to try again if your mom wants it and if you're okay with it. Nina picked at a thread on the couch. So I'm not getting replaced, she said quietly. Absolutely not, Kara said. No shot, Glenn added. You're the blueprint kid. Anyone coming after is just trying not to flop as hard as we did the first time. Nina smirked. So I'm the main character, she said. Always, he said. She let out a breath. Then okay, she said. Let's do it. Get the bonus baby. Just promise me one thing. Anything, Kara said. When they show up, Nina said, you won't treat them like a walking stem cell kit. They get birthday parties, groundings, TV time limits, the whole experience. Glenn smiled. Deal, he said. They'll get the full annoying parents package. Nina held out her fist. Then I'm in, she said. Squad expansion approved. They both bumped her fist. Simple move, huge decision. Clinic vibes. The IVF clinic looked nothing like the hospital. No beeping machines, no antiseptic smell. It was all soft colors, fake plants, and calming art that tried really hard. Feels like a spa that's low-key lying, Nina whispered. She sat in the lobby with Mabel while Glenn and Kara met the doctor. Mabel leaned over. Half the places I go these days are lying, she said. At least this one gives you tea. Nina snorted. You're getting funny in your old age, she said. Careful, Mabel replied. I can rewrite you out of the will. Nina gasped dramatically. You have a will, she asked. Am I in it? Focus on staying alive, Mabel said dryly. Then we'll talk paperwork. Inside a glass-walled office, Dr. Patel walked Glenn and Kara through the process. She had kind eyes and zero time for nonsense. Here's the thing, she said, tapping a folder with her pen. We're not just making a baby, we're coordinating 3 lives, yours, Nina's, and the one we're trying to bring in. We have to respect all 3. Kara liked her already. Dr. Long sent me her chart, Dr. Patel went on. We'd need to move efficiently but not recklessly. We stimulate your ovaries, Kara, retrieve the eggs. Fertilize with Glenn's sample. Grow the embryos, test for basic chromosomal issues. Then if we get a good one, we transfer and pray the uterus cooperates. Zero pressure, Glenn muttered. Dr. Patel ignored him. We'll also arrange with the cord blood bank in advance, she added. Contract signed, staff trained, no room for oops on this part. Kara shifted in her chair. Is this safe for me? She asked. My brain injury, the leg, the meds. We've already checked with your neurologist, Dr. Patel said. You're cleared with extra monitoring. Hormones might make you more emotional, more tired. But we'll keep a close eye. Glenn leaned forward. And Nina, he asked, how long do we have before we're too late for this to even matter? Dr. Patel exhaled. Her current labs buy us some time, she said, not years. But months, think in terms of maybe a year window, give or take. Cord blood is most useful earlier in that window, so from my perspective, the sooner we start, the better. Kara nodded. Then let's start, she said. I've wasted enough time in my life. Dr. Patel gave a small, approving smile. All right, she said, we'll do this by the book, full consent, no shortcuts, and one more thing, she looked them both in the eye. People will have opinions, she said. Family, strangers, people who read headlines and think they know you. They'll say you're using a child, that you're playing God. You need to be solid in your own minds about why you're doing this. Glenn didn't hesitate. I'm doing it because my daughter deserves every chance I can give her, he said. And because I want this child, not as spare parts, as part of our family. Kara's eyes shone. Same, she said. I won't let anyone turn this baby into a tool. They'll be loved for themselves, or we're not doing this at all. Dr. Patel nodded. Good, she said. You're going to need that conviction when things get hard. And they will. Glenn and Kara looked at each other. We're used to hard, he said. She squeezed his hand under the table. Yeah, she said, but maybe this time it leads somewhere good. Meanwhile, in the messy world, Rosie did not disappear quietly. Not her vibe. Her mutual resignation from Baker Group made business blogs and gossip sites within a week. They ran photos of her in designer gowns under headlines like, Jones-era steps back from corporate life for personal reasons, no mention of medical records, no mention of Nina. Glenn had insisted on that. Let her leave clean, he told the lawyers. I don't want Nina's name anywhere near this. Rosie, on the other hand, was not feeling particularly clean. She scrolled through the articles late at night in her father's townhouse, jaw clenched. Personal reasons, she scoffed. What a joke, her father, Robert Jones, corporate shark, watched her from his armchair. You're lucky, he said. Glenn could have gone public, you'd be in prison, not in my living room, she glared. I did what I had to do, she snapped. For us, for the firm, for the merger. He shook his head slowly. You did it for yourself, he said, and you did it sloppily. Sloppy gets people caught. She slammed her tablet down. So that's it, she demanded. You're just going to sit there and let him run off with some half-broken architect and her sick kid, and we just, pretend none of this touches us? His eyes clicked to hers. We are pulling back, he said. Strategic retreat. You made yourself radioactive. I'm not letting you burn the firm down with you. Her throat tightened. So Glenn gets everything, she said. His company, his tragic little family, his Saint Grandma arc. And I get what? Yoga and finding myself, he shrugged. You get to stay out of jail, he said. That's more than some people get when they play God with other people's kids. She stared at him like she didn't recognize him. You taught me this, she said. Power, leverage, information, now you're pretending you're above it. He stood up. I taught you to be ruthless in deals, he said. Not with dying children, there's a difference, Rosie. The words hit like a slap. For a moment, just one, her face crumpled, then she rebuilt it. Fine, if no one was going to help her, she'd help herself. She still had one card, information. She opened her laptop, started typing. The leak it started as a tiny story on a trashy gossip site. Nothing big, just a headline. Billionaire heir's secret love child battles cancer in local hospital, with a blurry photo of Glenn, hood up, walking into City General. 2 days later, a more respectable outlet picked it up. Baker Group CEO balances corporate empire and daughter's leukemia battle. Sources say they didn't name Nina. Didn't mention Kara. But you didn't have to be a detective to connect dots. Comments flooded in. Some supportive, some nasty, some conspiracy weird. When the third article dropped, this time mentioning a rumored IVF attempt to conceive a savior sibling, the fire really caught. Nina saw it first. She was scrolling on her tablet while Glenn and Kara were at the clinic. She typed Baker Group just to see if there was any news about her dad's company. The headline punched her in the face. She read. Her chest got tight, her hands went cold. They quoted anonymous insiders, talked about ethics of engineering a sibling for blood. Used the word designer baby like it was nothing. She clicked the comments. Bad idea. Some people called her miracle kid. Some called her walking charity case. Others said she was probably faking it for attention. One comment burned. If the kid is dying anyway, why put another kid through that? These people are sick. The room tilted. She tossed the tablet aside and grabbed the trash can just in time to throw up. Nurse Kayla found her pale and shaking. What happened? She asked, rubbing Nina's back. Nina didn't answer. Just stared at the wall. Kayla noticed the tablet on the bed still glowing with the article. Oh, Kayla said softly. Honey, is that what they think? Nina whispered. That I'm some science project. That the baby's gonna just be spare parts? Kayla sighed. People say wild stuff online, she said. They don't know you, they don't know your family. But maybe they're kinda right, Nina said, voice small. I mean, if I wasn't sick, would they even be having another kid? Kayla sat on the edge of the bed. Look at me, she said. Nina didn't. Kayla gently turned her face. Nina, she said, you know what I see when I look at your parents. Two idiots who are so over the moon about you it's almost disgusting. If they have another baby, that kid's going to be so smothered with love I'll have to hose them down in the hallway. Nina snorted weakly. Gross, she said. Exactly, Kayla said. If your parents just wanted spare stem cells, they could have done this anonymously. Quietly, no reconnecting, no dragging up old pain. They wouldn't be here every day, sleeping in chairs, arguing with doctors about every decimal point in your labs. Nina blinked away tears. I know that, she said, but it still hurts seeing people talk about me like I'm clickbait. Kayla reached for the call button. Then we fix it, she said. Starting with step 1, we tell your parents. Like now? No, Nina said quickly. They're already stressed. They're doing the whole science baby thing. I don't want to make them feel like it's all their fault. Kayla gave her a look. You think they want you to carry this alone? She asked. No shot, kid, she hit the button. Hey, she said into the speaker, can someone let Mr. Baker know his daughter needs him? Damage control Glenn got the call in the clinic's parking lot right after Kara's blood draw. His phone buzzed. Mr. Baker, the nurse said, Nina's asking for you now, his chest squeezed. Is she okay? He asked sharply. She's physically stable, the nurse said carefully, but emotionally. You should come. They drove faster than they probably should have. By the time they reached Nina's room, she had wiped her face and grabbed the tablet again. She didn't want to look fragile. Glenn saw right through her. What happened? He said, closing the door behind him. Nothing, she lied. He held out a hand. Phone, he said. It's a tablet, she muttered. Gadget, he corrected. Whatever, give. She hesitated, then shoved it at him. He read the headline. His face went stone cold. Kara read over his shoulder. Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God, she whispered. Nina, I'm so sorry. Nina stared at her blanket. So it's true, she asked. The baby thing is in the news, Glenn scrolled. They don't know details, he said. They're guessing and they're wrong about most of it. But not all, Nina said. I am sick, we are doing IVF, so the main idea is right. Glenn sat down on the bed. Nina, he said, look at me. She did barely. Do you feel used? He asked. By us, not by random strangers, by us, she swallowed. Sometimes, she admitted. Like, I know you love me, I know that, but I can't lie. Part of me is scared that if I don't get better, you'll be sad you wasted all this time and money. And if the baby doesn't match, you'll be sad you did all this for nothing. It's like my existence is a group project with a really bad grade. Kara's eyes flooded. Oh, honey, she said. No, no, never. Glenn felt like someone had reached inside his chest and squeezed. Listen to me, he said, voice rough. You are not a project, you are not an investment, you are my kid. If every doctor in the world told me there's zero chance, give up, I'd still be right here annoying you with bad coffee and worse jokes. She tried to smile. Your jokes are pretty trash, she said. Exactly, he said. I'm clearly not optimizing for efficiency here. Kara took Nina's hand. The baby, Kara said, is not a replacement, not a guarantee, not a plan B, there a hope. Just like you were. When I found out I was pregnant with you, everyone told me I was crazy to keep you. No money, no support, but you were the best choice I ever made. This baby is another choice, not instead of you. Because of you, Nina wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. What about them? She asked, nodding at the tablet. The comments, the people calling us selfish or stupid or evil. Glenn reached over and turned the screen off. They don't get a vote, he said. This is our life, our story. They see a headline. We live the fire, the alley, the hospital, the transplant. I'm done letting people who weren't there make me doubt what my family needs. Nina sniffed. So we're just not gonna read it, she asked. Pretty much, he said. Let my PR team earn their paychecks. They'll put out a boring statement about private medical matters and focusing on family and all that. Then we let tomorrow's scandal bury this one. You sure it works like that? She asked. Internet has the attention span of a squirrel, he said. Trust me, she huffed a laugh. Okay, she said. But if anyone calls me a savior sibling, I'm kicking them, slowly, in the shin. You don't have the red blood cells for that, he said. But sure, shin kicking in spirit. Grandma Goes to War. Mabel did not like seeing her great-granddaughter dragged online. At all. When Evans showed her the articles, she read 3 lines, then set her glasses down like she was about to fire someone. This is my fault, she said quietly. Evans frowned. Ma'am, he began, you didn't leak. I didn't protect them before, she said, and I have more tools than most grandmothers when it comes to making problems disappear. Evans tried not to smile. That's true, he said. She leaned back. Get me the names of the editors who ran this, she said, and the advertisers they rely on, and the board members who own shares in those media groups. We'll start there. Evans blinked. You're going to sue them? He asked. Suing takes too long, she said. We'll start with a few polite phone calls. He knew what polite phone calls meant in Mabel speak. Within 48 hours, 3 outlets issued clarifications. They toned down the savior-sibling language, added lines about deeply personal medical choices and respecting the family's privacy. A week later, the story dropped off the trending lists, replaced by the next scandal. Mabel watched the shift, satisfied but not smug. It didn't erase what Rosie had done, but it was something. She visited Nina that weekend. The girl was drawing on a whiteboard, sketching a lopsided baby with wild hair. What's that? Mabel asked. This is Bean, Nina said. Working name for the baby, gender neutral, chaos implied. Bean, Mabel repeated. Fitting. She sat down. I made some calls, she said casually. About the stories. Nina looked up. I noticed people stopped yelling online, she said. Was that you? Old lady magic, Mabel replied. Nina smiled. Thanks, she said. Mabel hesitated. I can't fix everything I broke, she said. But I can make sure you don't get kicked while you're finally standing up. Nina's eyes softened. You're doing okay, she said, for a reformed villain. Mabel actually laughed. Don't tell anyone, she said. I have a reputation to maintain. Shots, hormones, and ugly crying. IVF was not cute. Kara learned that fast. There were schedules, shots at specific times, blood draws every other day. Ultrasounds where doctors pointed at blobs on screens and said things like, good follicle count. At home, Glenn tried to help with the injections. First night, he watched the nurse demonstrate. Pinch the skin, the nurse said. Quick in, slow push, quick out, no hesitation. Glenn nodded. I've closed billion-dollar acquisitions, he said. How hard can it be? 5 minutes later, he was sweating. Okay, ready, he said, holding the needle like it might explode. 1, 2, 3, he froze on 4, Kara sighed. Give me that, she said, grabbing it gently. You're gonna pass out. I am not, he began. You're literally pale, she said. It's okay, I got this. She took a breath, pinched her own stomach, and did it herself, hissed through her teeth. Damn, she muttered. That stings. Glenn looked guilty. I should be able to do it, he said. Some husband I am. She shook her head. Glenn, she said, you gave me bone marrow, you shaved your head, you sit with me for every scan, you don't need to be good at everything. It's annoying, he cracked a smile. Fine, he said, but I am absolutely in charge of snack management. Nina yelled from the living room, and meme selection. Obviously, Glenn called back, the hormones did a number on Kara. Small things set her off. One day she cried because the grocery store was out of her favorite yogurt. Why would they do that? She sniffed. It was the peach one, it never hurt anybody. Glenn handed her a napkin. I'll buy the entire factory, he said. We'll have you buried in peach yogurt. She laughed and cried at the same time. This is stupid, she said. I'm crying about dairy. It's not stupid, he said. It's brain chemistry. And also that yogurt is really good. Even Nina, who loved to roast, backed off sometimes. She'd peek into Kara's room, see her curled up with a heating pad, and quietly bring her a mug of tea. You good, Mom? She'd ask. Define good, Kara would say weakly. Not dead, Nina replied. Not in jail, still mildly cute. Barely, Kara muttered. Nina grinned. Progress, she said. Egg day, they called it retrieval day. Kara called it egg heist. She changed into the thin hospital gown, lay on the little wheeled bed, and tried not to freak out. Glenn was at her side, hair grown out just enough to look less like a newly hatched chick. Nina wasn't allowed in the procedure area, but she'd drawn a tiny egg with a smiley face on Kara's wrist in marker. For luck, she'd said. Don't let them drop my future sibling on the floor. A nurse checked Kara's bracelet. Ready? She asked. Absolutely not, Kara replied, but let's do it anyway. They rolled her toward the OR. Glenn walked beside the bed until the doors. This feels familiar, Kara said, suddenly nervous. Last time I went under anesthesia, my life blew up. He grabbed her hand. That was then, he said. Different hospital, different doctors. Different ending, her eyes stung. If something goes wrong, she began. He squeezed her hand. If something goes wrong, he said, we deal with it together. I'm not walking out of this story again. She nodded. Let go, let the staff wheel her through. The sedation hit fast. She drifted off to the sound of Dr. Patel saying, Don't worry, Kara, we've got you. Glenn paced the waiting room like it owed him money. Mabel sat in the corner, knitting something that looked like it might eventually be a baby hat. Nina texted nonstop from home. Nina, did they steal the eggs yet? Glenn, retrieve, not steal. And yes, they're working. Nina, tomato, tomato. Nina, if they get like 3 eggs, does that mean 3 beans? Glenn. It doesn't work exactly like that. Nina, so you're saying there's a chance? Eyes. He shook his head, smiling despite himself. Dr. Patel appeared an hour later. Mr. Baker, she called. He jumped up. How is she? He asked. Is she okay? She's waking up, Dr. Patel said. Procedure went smoothly. We retrieved 12 eggs. Mabel let out a little O of surprise. Is that good? Glenn asked. It's very good, Dr. Patel replied. We'll know in a few days how many fertilize and make it to embryo stage, but today went as well as we could hope. Glenn exhaled. Can I see her? He asked. Yes, she said. She's groggy. Don't let her make any important decisions under the drugs. I'll take her credit card, he promised. Kara blinked awake in recovery. Her lower belly ached. Ugh, she groaned. Who parked a truck on my ovaries? Hi, Glenn said, appearing in her blurry vision. Truck driver here, sorry about that, she smiled weakly. How many? She asked. 12, he said. Dozen little maybe babies. Her eyes filled with tears. Wow, she whispered. I never thought after the fire, after everything, that my body could still do anything right. Hey, he said gently, don't talk about yourself like that. You carried Nina, you survived smoke and burns and my family. You are literally built different, she laughed then winced. Ow, she said, don't make me laugh, my inside parts are mad. He squeezed her hand. Rest, he said. We'll freak out about embryo counts later. Games people play one last time. Meanwhile, Rosie watched from a distance. She didn't have access to their medical charts anymore. No more admin friends willing to risk their careers. But she still had eyes, and money, and anger. Her private investigator, a thin man with permanently tired eyes, slid a manila folder across the table of the cafe where they met. That's the clinic, he said. Fertility specialist, top tier. Discreet, they've got a deal with the hospital. She flipped through the photos, Glenn helping Kara out of a car, Kara holding her stomach, Nina laughing with a nurse outside. The kids there a lot, the pie said. Big family thing, Rosie's jaw clenched. Can you get someone on the inside, she asked. Nurse, receptionist, janitor, I don't care, I just need information, schedule, results. The pie sipped his coffee. I can get gossip, he said. But actual medical info, HIPAA is no joke, people go to jail for that, and after what happened at the hospital, folks are spooked. She slammed her hand on the table. I am not asking them to print it in the newspaper, she snapped. I just want a heads up if this thing works, if she gets pregnant, if they get their stupid miracle. The pie shrugged. I'll see what I can find, he said, but I'm telling you now, the well's running dry. People are starting to realize being on your payroll is bad luck, she glared. Then maybe I need a new kind of leverage, she muttered. He raised an eyebrow. Like what? He asked. She stared out the window, watching a mom push a stroller down the street, her fingers dug into her cup. Accidents happen, she said quietly. Cars slide on ice, pipes burst, people slip. The pie froze. No, he said flatly. Whatever you're thinking, I'm out. I don't do accidents. That's not surveillance, that's prison. She gave him a sharp smile. Relax, she said. I'm just talking, you're so jumpy. He stood up. I'm done, Miss Jones, he said. Find someone else. She watched him leave. For a long moment she simmered. Then she picked up her phone and scrolled to a number she hadn't used in a while. A cousin, the kind who posted gun pics on social media as a joke. Her finger hovered over the call button. She thought of court, prison, her father's face. Glenn's eyes when he'd said that broken little family is mine. She put the phone down, even she had lines, barely, but she had them. Life between appointments while embryos grew in Petri dishes, life kinda went on. Nina started online school, sort of. She logged into classes from her bed, camera off, hoodie up. Teachers tried to be normal, kids were weird. Some were sweet, sent her messages like, hey, I heard you were sick, that sucks. If you want notes, I got you. Others were nosy. Is it true your dad is that baker dude? She ignored those. On good days, she walked slow laps in the hallway with a mask on, IV pole rolling beside her like a clingy robot. On bad days, she watched cartoons and slept. Glenn tried to balance work and home. He'd take calls from the apartment kitchen, arguing with board members about quarterly numbers while making instant noodles for Nina. Yes, I've seen the projections, he'd say, stirring. No, I'm not signing off on layoffs in the clinics division. My answer is no. We cut executive bonuses before we cut nurses. Then he'd hang up, bring the noodle bowl to Nina and say, okay, it's too hot, don't sue me. Mabel stopped by often. Sometimes with grocery bags, sometimes with old photo albums, sometimes just to sit and watch Nina sleep. Why are you staring at me? Nina mumbled once, half awake. Making sure you're still breathing, Mabel said. Dark, Nina muttered, rolling over, but kind of sweet. The call 2 weeks after retrieval, Dr. Patel called. Glenn put her on speaker in the living room. Kara and Nina sat on the couch, both clutching pillows like stress balls. Hi, Patel, Glenn said, trying to sound casual. Please tell me you're calling about pizza and not something terrifying, she chuckled. Afraid it's the terrifying thing, she said, but in a good way. Kara sat up straighter. How many? She asked. Out of the 12 eggs we retrieved, Dr. Patel said, 10 fertilized. Out of those, 8 made it to day 5 embryos. Out of those, 5 passed basic screening. Nina's jaw dropped. Damn, she blurted. We got a starting lineup. Glenn pinched her arm gently. Language, he murmured, even though he was grinning. I'd recommend we freeze most of them, Dr. Patel continued, and transfer 1. Maybe 2 at most, depending on how you feel about twins. Kara's eyes widened. Let's start with 1, she said quickly. I love my child, but I would like to stay sane. Fair, Dr. Patel said. Your lining looks good. Hormones are on track, we can schedule the transfer for next week. Nina kicked her feet. So Bean is real, she said. Well, Bean and Bean 2-5. 5 beans, Glenn said faintly. That's a lot of coffee. Not all at once, relax, Nina said. We'll see who gets the final rose. Kara laughed. Dr. Patel smiled through the phone. Call me later if you have questions, she said. But for now, congratulations. This is a big step. They hung up, silence. Then Nina yelled, we're making science babies, let's go, and high-fived both of them. Transfer day felt almost anticlimactic. No anesthesia this time. No big operating room. Just a small procedure room with a screen, a doctor, and a Strathen catheter. Kara lay on the table in a gown, feet in stirrups, feeling extremely exposed. Glenn sat by her head in scrubs, hair net making him look like a lunch lady. Dr. Patel lined up the catheter on the ultrasound. Okay, she said. Remember, bladder full, no sneezing. I will try my best, Kara said miserably. But if I pee on you, it's not personal. Nina wasn't allowed in the room, but she had insisted on sending a playlist. Calm songs, no sad ones. I'm not letting my sibling be conceived to elevator music, she'd said. As the embryo was loaded into the catheter, Dr. Patel pointed at the screen. See that tiny bright spot? She said. That's the embryo, Kara squinted. It looks like a dot, she said. It is a dot, Dr. Patel replied. But a very fancy one. They all watched as the catheter released the embryo, just a dot of light sliding into place. Okay, Dr. Patel said, now we wait. How long? Glenn asked. 2 weeks, she said. No heavy lifting. No hot tubs, no falling downstairs, no getting into screaming matches with anyone named Rosie. Kara snorted. I'll do my best, she said. The longest 2 weeks, the 2-week wait was torture. Kara analyzed every twinge. Every yawn, every craving. 1 minute I'm starving, she said. Next minute I'm nauseous. Is that hormones or just me being dramatic? Could be either, Glenn said. Super helpful, thanks, she muttered. She Googled symptoms and had to stop because every forum basically said, you're definitely pregnant and you're definitely not at the same time. Nina tried to distract her. She made a countdown on the whiteboard. Bean watch. Day 3, she wrote, then Bean watch, day 7, mood, chaotic, neutral. She also started talking to Kara's stomach, which was still completely flat. Hey Bean, she'd say, poking gently. If you're in there, no pressure, but like we're rooting for you. Glenn walked in once and overheard. You know they can't hear you yet, right? He asked. Nina shrugged. Maybe they can, she said. If they're anything like me, they're already nosy. The test Kara told herself she wouldn't test early, she lied. On day 10, she woke up before dawn. Glenn was snoring softly. Nina was out cold, the apartment was quiet. Her heart felt like it was trying to escape her ribs. She slipped into the bathroom with a little white stick, stared at it like it was an enemy. This is dumb, she whispered. It's too soon, it could be wrong. Just wait, Kara, she peed on it anyway. Set it on the sink, turned away, did not look, counted to 60, messed it up, started over. Finally, she grabbed it with shaking hands. 1 line, then a second, faint but there. Her knees went weak. Oh, she said. Oh, the door opened a crack. Glenn's messy head poked in, eyes squinty. You okay? He asked. You've been in here forever. Did the toothpaste attack you or? He saw the test. Stopped. Is that? He began. She held it up, tears spilling over. I think so, she said. It's there, right? I'm not hallucinating. He took it, looked, his face crumpled in a way she'd never seen. Yeah, he said, voice rough. It's there, she laughed and sobbed at the same time. Oh my God, she said, we made a dot. He pulled her into a hug, careful of the stick still in her hand. We made a dot, he echoed, a very dangerous dot. With my terrible jokes and your stubbornness, the world is not ready. Nina banged on the door. Hey, she called, why are you both crying in the bathroom? Did the toilet say something mean? They opened the door, she squinted at the test. Then at their faces. No way, she breathed. No freaking way. Is that? Bean, Kara said, laughing through tears. Bean is real. Nina let out a scream so loud the upstairs neighbor banged on the ceiling. She didn't care. I'm gonna be a big sister, she yelled, jumping up and down. Let's go, Glenn laughed. Kara cried harder. For a moment the fear went quiet. Hope, small but stubborn, took up a little more space. Epilogue of this part, they still had a long way to go. Pregnancy wasn't guaranteed to be easy. Cord blood wasn't guaranteed to fix Nina. Rosie wasn't guaranteed to stay out of their lives, but for the first time they had. A kid whose transplant was working, even if not perfectly. A baby on the way, not as a replacement, but as a wild new chapter. A grandma who'd gone from villain to bodyguard. And a dad who had finally fully picked a side and stayed. In Nina's sketchbook that night, she drew 4 stick figures and a tiny blob with a smile. Underneath, she wrote, Us, version 2 then in smaller letters. Please don't crash. She closed the book, turned off the light, and for the first time in a long time, fell asleep thinking about a future that might actually be there when she woke up. Time didn't speed up just because they were finally getting good news. If anything, it slowed down more. Nina's counts climbed, bean grew, fear stayed, but hope stuck around this time too. Being pregnant again, but different pregnancy with Bean was nothing like when Kara carried Nina. Back then, she'd been young and broke and scared. She'd gone to one public clinic, gotten a "yeah, you're pregnant, congrats, don't die" pamphlet, and that was it. No support, no excited partner, no grandma knitting hats. This time, whole different story. Dr. Patel, Dr. Long, a high-risk ob nutritionist. Mabel with a stack of parenting books. Glenn hovering like a helicopter with a black card. Kara waddled into yet another appointment one afternoon and rolled her eyes at the giant file with her name on it. "I feel like a group project," she grumbled. "You are," Dr. Patel said. "The project is called Don't Let Anyone Die This Time. We're all very invested." Nina, sitting in the corner with her tablet, flashed a thumbs up. 10 out of 10, she said. Would invest again. Kara's body remembered how to be pregnant, but it also remembered the fire. The trauma. Some nights she'd wake up from dreams about smoke and sirens, hand on her belly, heart racing. Glenn would be there in seconds. "You okay?" he'd whisper. She'd nod, even when it wasn't true. "I keep thinking," she admitted one night, staring at the ceiling, "what if something happens again? Another accident, another fire, another something. I don't know if I can survive losing another baby, or Nina." He shifted closer. "Hey," he said softly, "look at me." She did, reluctantly. "Bad stuff might happen," he said. "We can't control everything. But we're not those kids from 6 years ago. We've got doctors, money, lawyers, grandma with blood pressure and anger issues. We are not alone in this anymore," she snorted. "Grandma with anger issues is a wild way to say guardian angel," she said. "Have you met her?" he asked. "She's both." Kara's mouth twitched. "Fair," she said. Nina, big sister in training. Nina took her future big sister role very seriously. She made a list titled, "Things Bean Needs to Know About This Ghetto Planet." Some entries. "Mom cries at commercials. Don't worry, she's fine. Dad pretends he doesn't like cartoons. He lies. Great-grandma is scary but will fight God for you. Hospitals suck but sometimes they save your butt. Be nice to nurses." She showed the list to Kara. "You're gonna read this to Bean, right?" she said. "Like before they're born so they don't show up clueless." Kara smiled. "I think the womb Wi-Fi is kinda weak," she said, "but sure, we'll try." "And after Bean comes out," Nina added, serious now, "you won't disappear, right? Like I won't be just the sick one in the background while the healthy baby gets all the good stuff." Kara's heart clenched. "Oh, Nina," she whispered. "No, absolutely not." She took Nina's face in both hands. "I know people do that," she said. "They get a do-over kid and forget the one who had it rough. But we're not doing that. You fought your way through hell with me. I'm not putting you back in the shadows now." Nina swallowed. "Okay," she said quietly. "Just promise you'll still come to my doctor appointments and not send Bean as your representative." Kara laughed. "I promise," she said. "Bean can tag along, not replace you." "Good," Nina said. "'Cause if they try, I'll trip them, with love." The last attempt at sabotage, even with Rosie officially gone, ghosts of her choices still floated around. One afternoon, Glenn's legal team came in with updates. They sat around his office table, the one with too many zeros negotiated on it, and dropped a folder. "We dug deeper into the medical record tampering," his head counsel Anita said. "Hospital admin rolled on everyone. Emails, payments, the works. We could take this public, crush them." Glenn rubbed his jaw. "What happens if we do?" he asked. "Be real." Anita didn't sugarcoat. "It'll be a circus," she said. "Your name in headlines. Nina's case in every article. Jones' firm dragged, hospital embarrassed, lawsuits for years, big moral win, big emotional loss." "What about criminal charges?" he asked. "Can they do time?" "Potentially," she said. "But only if we push hard and the DA bites. Might be a slap on the wrist, might be more, no guarantees." He stared out the window. "Hamel City looks small from up here." "Rosie already lost her positions," Anita added. "The bar is investigating. Her father is not happy with her." "He shouldn't be," Glenn muttered. Anita shrugged. "Sometimes losing power hurts more than prison," she said. He thought of Nina's face when she'd seen those articles. The way she'd asked if the baby would just be spare parts. "I want her to pay," he admitted. "Every part of me wants that, but I don't want my kid's pain to be the price of my revenge." Anita nodded. "So what do you want us to do?" she asked. He tapped the folder. "Leave enough on the table so the bar and the hospital can't ignore it," he said. "But no press releases, no public show. If Rosie gets disbarred in quiet shame instead of in a headline, I can live with that." Anita smiled faintly. "That's surprisingly merciful for you," she said. "Don't get used to it," he replied. "I'm still suing the pants off that admin." Rosie felt the walls closing in, bar letters, cold calls from former friends saying, "Sorry, we can't be seen with you right now." Her father's silence, which hurt more than his shouting ever had. She watched Glenn's public life from a distance. He didn't mention Nina by name, didn't mention Kara, but he did shift Baker Group's funding toward pediatric care, charity care, hospital safety. Interviews framed it as corporate responsibility. Rosie knew better. Every check he wrote was about them. One night she sat alone in her dark apartment, phone in hand. On the screen was a photo from years ago. Her, Glenn, and a group at some charity gala. She zoomed in on his face. He wasn't looking at her. He was looking off to the side, distracted, unhappy even then. I was never going to win, she said to herself, bitter smile twisting. Not really. She deleted the photo, for once didn't save it in a hidden folder. Then slowly she opened a blank email to the hospital. Subject line, regarding prior communications and patient file edits. Her fingers hovered. For just a second, genuine regret flickered. Then she shook her head. Hit send, not a confession, just enough to help her own case, and not enough to help theirs. Because even at her most sorry, Rosie Jones never stopped looking out for herself first. Complications pregnancy is never just chill, especially not high-risk pregnancy after trauma and IVF. At 28 weeks it got messy. Cara woke up one night with a weird tightness in her belly, not painful, just off. Probably Braxton Hicks, she told herself. Practice contractions, totally normal. She went back to sleep, woke up again. The tightness was sharper, her back hurt. She swung her legs over the bed and stood up. Warmth spread down her thighs, she looked down. Ah hell, she whispered, fluid everywhere. Glenn, she called, voice shaking. Glenn, he jolted awake, hair all over the place. What did we get robbed? He blurted. My water, she gasped. I think it broke, it's too early, it's way too early. He sobered fast. Okay, he said, grabbing his phone. Okay, hospital now, Nina. Already awake, Nina said from the hallway, pale but alert. I heard yelling, are we in labor? Are we dying? What's the vibe? Not helping kid, Glenn said. Nina grabbed Kara's bag, the one already packed just in case. I'll call Mabel, she said, and Kayla. And literally everyone. Nina breathed, Kara said, trying to stay calm herself. I'm okay, Bean's okay, this happens sometimes. It doesn't mean, her voice wobbled. It doesn't mean we're losing them. Right, Nina said quickly, forcing a smile. Yeah, Bean's a cockroach, they're not going out like this. Terrible metaphor, Glenn muttered, half laughing, half panicking. They made it to the hospital in record time. Kara was hooked up to monitors. Baby's heartbeat there, strong, fast. Dr. Patel checked her. Your membranes have ruptured, she said calmly. But you're not fully in labor yet. We're going to try to buy time. Can you? Kara asked. Is that a thing? We'll give you steroids to help the baby's lungs mature, Dr. Patel said. Antibiotics to fend off infection. Magnesium to protect baby's brain. Bed rest, close monitoring. Our goal is to keep Bean inside as long as it's safe. How long is that? Glenn asked. Days, she said. Maybe weeks. Every extra day matters. What about the cord blood? Kara whispered. If Bean comes early, is it still usable for Nina? Dr. Patel nodded. Cord blood can be collected even with preemies, she said. The volume might be lower, but it's still something. And frankly, job one is getting you both through this alive. Kara swallowed. Okay, she said. Do whatever you have to do. Bed rest, prison bed rest sounded easy. Lie down, don't move, scroll tick-tock, right, wrong. After 3 days, Kara wanted to break through the window. Her hips hurt from lying on one side. The monitors itched. The IV beeped too much. I feel like a whale on house arrest, she grumbled. Nina sat on the visitor chair, playing Uno with her on a tray. You're a hot whale though, Nina said, like in a complimentary way. That's weird, Kara said, but I appreciate the effort. Glenn popped in and out, juggling work and hospital. He brought snacks he wasn't supposed to bring. Kara gave most of them to Nina. One afternoon, Mabel came in with a small, wrapped box. What's that? Nina asked, eyes lighting up. Is it food money? A baby goat? It's for Bean, Mabel said, handing it to Kara. Kara opened it. Inside was a tiny gold bracelet with a single engraved letter, B-O, Kara breathed. It's beautiful. Mabel looked awkward. I know you'll probably name the child something better than Bean, she said. But I wanted them to have something from me that isn't pain. Kara's eyes filled. Thank you, she said. They'll wear it. And we'll tell them where it came from. Nina grinned. See, great-grandma, she said. You're in your soft grandma era now, it suits you. Mabel sniffed. Get your counts up and then we'll discuss my era's young lady, she said. The day they made it another 12 days. Everyone felt like stolen time. Then, at 30 weeks and a bit, Bean decided they were done renting. Kara woke up with real contractions this time, no mistaking them. These are not practice, she groaned. These are varsity. Dr. Patel checked her. All right, she said. You're in active labor. We've done everything we can to buy time. Now we switch gears and focus on safe delivery. Is it too early? Kara asked, voice shaking. Are they going to be okay? Premature, yes, Dr. Patel said honestly. They'll need NICU time, tubes, monitors, but their odds are a lot better now than they were when your water first broke. We've stacked the deck as much as we can. Glenn stood at Kara's side, scrubbing in, trying not to look as freaked out as he felt. Nina wasn't allowed in the delivery room. She sat with Mabel in the waiting area, knee bouncing so hard the chair rattled. I hate this, she muttered. I hate not being in there. You hate hospitals in general, Mabel said. Yeah, Nina replied. But at least when I'm the one on the table, I know what's going on. This waiting crap trash. Mabel slipped an arm around her shoulders. Trust me, she said, waiting room hell is universal. If I could fight God in there for them, I would. Nina leaned into her just a little. Pretty sure Mom would yell at you for saying that, she mumbled. Let her, Mabel said. I'll take it. Inside the delivery room, things escalated fast. Bean was small, Kara was exhausted, the baby's heart rate dipped with contractions. We're getting non-reassuring patterns, Dr. Patel said. Kara, I want to be honest. Vaginal birth is still possible, but if this keeps up, we might have to move to an emergency C-section. Kara panted. Do what you have to, she gasped. Just keep them alive. Glenn's grip on her hand tightened. He wanted to scream, to demand they stop hurting her, to freeze time. Instead, he leaned close and murmured, You're doing so good, Care. I've seen you hold up half a building with sheer spite. You can get this kid out, she actually laughed, breathless. You're so annoying, she said. Motivational speaker actually, he replied. It didn't come to surgery, barely. After another hour of pushing, cursing, and bargaining with every power in the universe, a thin, sharp cry cut through the room. Hi, angry, small, the nurses hustled. Time, someone called. 2:14 p.m., another answered. Glenn caught a glimpse, tiny, red, covered in vernix, before Bean was whisked to the warming table. He didn't even know if he was allowed to go over there. He went anyway. A NICU team worked fast. Suction, oxygen, tiny monitors. The baby fought, kicked, cried harder. Strong little thing, one nurse murmured. Glenn's eyes blurred. Boy or girl, he asked, voice cracking. Girl, someone said. He laughed weakly. Of course, he said. This family needed another terrifying woman. They wrapped her up just enough to show her face and brought her close to Kara for one quick touch. Kara reached out, trembling, and cupped her daughter's cheek with 2 fingers. Hey, she whispered, welcome to the circus. The baby quieted for half a second, then wailed again. Yeah, Kara said, that tracks. They took the baby to NICU, and right behind them the cord blood team. Glenn watched from the doorway as they collected every drop they could from the cord and placenta into the special bag with Nina's name on the label. It was both beautiful and horrifying. So much writing on a bag of blood, he murmured. Dr. Long appeared beside him like a ghost with a clipboard. That bag, he said, and the kid who just screamed her way into the world. Glenn swallowed. You think it'll be enough, he asked. Dr. Long's gaze was steady. We ran the HLA matches on all your stored embryos, he said. The one we transferred wasn't just chromosomally normal. She's also a perfect immune match to Nina. This cord blood is as good as it gets. Glenn closed his eyes for a second. Thank you, he said quietly. Don't thank me yet, Dr. Long replied. We still have a second transplant to get through. Bean meets the squad. They couldn't hold Bean that first day. She was in a NICU incubator, tiny hat, even tinier diaper, CPAP gently puffing air into her nose. Nina stood at the glass, mask on, hands tucked into her pockets so she wouldn't smudge the plastic. She's so small, she whispered. She thinks she's huge, Glenn said softly. You should have heard her lungs. What's her real name? Nina asked. We can't keep calling her Bean forever. That's like low-key rude, Kara smiled, still pale but sitting in a wheelchair now. We were thinking, she said slowly, of naming her Hope, middle name Alina, after my mom. Nina nodded. Hope, she said, testing it. Hope Alina Baker, HEB initials kinda sound like a grocery store, but I'll allow it. Glenn snorted. Thanks for the approval, he said. Nina stared at the tiny baby. Hey, Hope, she said softly through the glass. It's me. The chaos gremlin you were made to rescue. No pressure, but I'm really glad you're here. We'll be weird together, okay? Bean/Hope wiggled slightly. Nina felt something in her chest crack open. Not pain, not fear. Something like expansion, more room, more love, scary, but good. The second big surgery cord blood had to be processed. Frozen, tested again, Nina had a few weeks of okay-ish before things tilted. Her labs, which had been slowly climbing, hit a plateau, then inched down. She got more tired, bruised easier. Dr. Long came in with that face. The one she now recognized as the we need to talk face. All right, team, he said, closing the door. I've been watching her counts. We all knew this was a possibility. Relapse? Nina asked bluntly. Not a full one yet, he said. But the indicators are moving in the wrong direction. I don't want to wait until the house is fully on fire to grab the hoses. I think it's time to use Hope's cord blood. Silence. Kara's hand found Nina's. So, another transplant, Kara said softly. More like a booster, Dr. Long said. We've already done the heavy chemo once. This time we don't have to fully wipe her system again, but it is still a big procedure. Risks, infection, graft issues. Same song, second verse. Nina looked at her parents, at the photo on the wall of Hope's tiny hand gripping Glenn's finger. Will it hurt? She asked. Probably, he said. Less than the first time, but it won't be a picnic. She took a breath. I don't want Hope to feel like she failed, Nina said quietly. If this doesn't work. Dr. Long's expression softened. She's a baby, he said. All she knows is warm light and loud noises. She's not keeping score. And neither are we. Science is trying, that's all. Nina nodded. Okay, she said, then let's try. The day of the cord blood transplant felt weirdly familiar. Same IV pole, same monitors, different bag, this one labeled Hopelina Baker umbilical cord blood. For Nina Allen. Nina lay back, eyes on the clear fluid. So, she said, this is literally my sister in a bag. Do not say that out loud in front of Grandma, Glenn muttered. She'll faint again, Kara smiled. You ready? She asked. No, Nina said, but also yes. Dr. Long checked everything. All right, he said, let's do this. The infusion itself was anticlimactic, just drip, drip, drip. Nina stared. Feels like regular chemo day, she said, except this time my donor is a bald baby instead of a bald dad. Hey, Glenn said, I have hair now, thank you. Barely, she shot back. They watched quietly. Each drop felt loaded. Hope cells, Nina's blood, two sisters sharing more than toys. Storm then calm. The next weeks were a blur. Side effects hit, less brutal than the first time, still awful. Nina's stomach revolted. Her skin itched. Her bones throbbed. She joked less, slept more. Kayla and the nurses stuck glow-in-the-dark stars on her ceiling. So you don't forget there's stuff outside this room, Kayla said. Some nights Glenn would walk the halls and see other parents. Some alone, some fighting with doctors, some crying in vending machine alcoves. He'd nod at them. Little club no one wanted to join. At home, Mabel and a live-in nurse watched over tiny Hope. NICU visits were carefully timed so Kara didn't burn out. They took photos, videos, brought them to Nina. This is her angry face, Glenn would say, showing a picture. That's not angry, Nina said. That's you didn't heat the milk fast enough face. Amateur rage. Slowly, labs started shifting, again white cells rising, blasts dropping. More of Nina's blood profile was donor-derived. But this time, when they did the minimal residual disease test, the result came back. Negative, no signal, nothing detectable. Dr. Long walked into Nina's room holding the report like it was made of glass. Okay, he said, I brought you something. Nina squinted. Is it edible? She asked. Better, he said. It's boring. He handed her the page. She stared at the letters. Her brain gathered itself. Undetectable, she read slowly. Minimal residual disease undetectable. She looked up. You mean it's gone? She breathed. He lifted a hand. Gone as far as we can measure, he said. I'm not going to say the word cured yet. The protocol people would yell at me, but this is the best possible result we could have hoped for. Kara covered her mouth. Glenn sat down hard. Nina's eyes filled, but she laughed. So, she said, voice shaking, you're telling me I did all this, lost my hair twice, puked my soul out, and I might actually get to grow up? Yeah, Dr. Long said, smiling. That's exactly what I'm saying. She let out a long, shaky breath. Damn, she whispered, that's wild. Glenn and Kara moved at the same time, wrapping her in a careful hug around all the tubes. For the first time, the hug wasn't a please don't die hug. It was a we might actually make it one. Everyday miracles recovery wasn't instant. Nina still had meds, clinic visits, masks, blood draws. But little things started happening. She walked without the IV pole. Her hair grew back, this time with a weird little wave. I look like a baby llama, she said. It's a vibe. Hope got stronger in the NICU. They weaned her off extra oxygen. She graduated from incubator to open crib. The day they brought her home, Nina decorated the living room with a crooked welcome beans sign. When Kara walked in carrying the tiny bundle, Nina froze. So small, she whispered again. Every time I see her, she's still small. Give her a few years, Glenn said. She'll be taller than all of us and talking trash. Nina sat on the couch. Kara gently placed Hope in her arms. Support her head, Kara said automatically. Don't let her slide. I'm not dumb, Nina muttered, but her hands were trembling. Hope squinted up at her, made a tiny snuffling sound, curled her fingers around Nina's thumb. Nina stared, something inside her settled. Hey, Bean, she murmured. It's me, the chaos gremlin. I'm gonna show you how to live. No pressure, Hope yawned, then slowly smiled in her sleep. Look at that, Glenn said softly, already sick of us. Smart kid, Mabel muttered, wiping at her eye. A different kind of party. They didn't do a big flashy wedding like the original plan 6 years ago. No ballroom, no fireworks, too much trauma tied to all that glitter. Instead, months later, when Nina was stable and Hope was chunky and loud, they did something small. Backyard of the old Allen house, rebuilt after the fire. It had taken time, lawyers, and a stubborn grandma signing off on damages. But they did it. The new house was simple, bright, safe. Circle closed, Kara had said when they moved in, but in a good way. For the ceremony, they kept it short. A simple arch with flowers, family, a few close friends. Kayla and Dr. Long, Dr. Patel with Hope in her lap. Nina stood front row in a yellow dress, hair just past her ears now. She hadn't worn a mask in months. Her lab said she didn't need it every day. Her lungs said she could run again. She still got tired, but it was normal tired, human tired, not my bones are dying tired. Glenn stood at the little makeshift altar, fidgeting with his tie. You nervous? Nina whispered. Little bit, he admitted. I don't want to mess this up. You already messed up, she said. This is the fix, just don't trip. Very comforting, thanks, he said. Music started, not too sappy. Kara walked out in a simple dress. Nothing huge, elegant, her limp was almost gone now. Therapy had done its work, she still had scars, but they were part of her story, not the whole thing. Glenn watched her approach like he was seeing the sun for the first time. She reached him, hand in his. The officiant cleared his throat. Dearly beloved, he said, we're gathered here today not to start something new but to finally bless what life kept trying to tear apart. Glenn smiled. That's one way to put it, he murmured. They kept their vows short, no long speeches, just truths. I didn't find you at the fire, Glenn said, voice rough. I didn't find you in time to stop the first surgery, but I found you now. I found you and our girls, and I promise for as long as I'm breathing I'm not letting go again. Kara's eyes shone. I spent years thinking you didn't care enough to look, she said. I was wrong about that. Not about everything, she added dryly, earning a laugh. But about that, I forgive you and I forgive myself, and I promise to stop running even when life makes me want to sprint in the opposite direction. The officiant nodded. Rings, he said. Nina stepped forward holding a small box. Don't drop them, Glenn whispered. Don't make me trip you in front of God and everybody, she whispered back. They exchanged rings, simple bands, no flashy stones. Mabel wiped her eyes openly now. Hope gurgled from Dr. Patel's lap, as if annoyed at not being the center of attention. By the power vested in me by this state and a very persistent teenage girl who bullied me into saying yes to this gig, the officiant said, smiling at Nina, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your wife before your kid starts heckling you. They kissed, soft, sure, old and new at once. Nina groaned loudly. Children are present, everyone laughed. For once, the laughter didn't feel like a cover for pain. It just felt like joy, real, earned, fragile, but real. Later that night, after everyone left and the backyard was quiet, the four of them sat on a blanket under weak fairy lights. Glenn, Kara, Nina. Hope snoring softly on Nina's chest. I used to think my life ended in that alley, Nina said suddenly, staring at the stars. When Mom collapsed, when Dr. Long said leukemia. Felt like everything before that was the before in a sad story. Kara stroked her hair. I get that, she said. I used to think mine ended in that fire, Glenn exhaled. And I thought mine ended when they told me you were dead, he said. Turns out we all got it wrong. Nina nodded. Yeah, she said. I guess those were just the plot twists, not the ending. She looked down at Hope. At least now when Bean grows up, she said, we can tell her she was born into a mess that we were already cleaning. Not one we pretended didn't exist. Glenn smiled. We'll tell her everything, he said. Age-appropriate but honest. She deserves to know she was never just a fix, she was an extra miracle. Kara's voice went soft. We got 3 miracles, she said. Nina, Hope, and Mabel not actually imploding from guilt. Hey, Nina said. Don't forget Dad finally pulling his head out of his butt. That's miracle adjacent. Glenn laughed. I walked into that one, he said. Fair. They sat there quietly, crickets, a car passing in the distance. Hope's tiny snores. Nina traced a pattern on the blanket. What now, she asked. Now, Glenn said, now we do boring stuff, school work. Diapers, late-night feeds, PTA meetings, terrible band concerts, all the stuff we thought we'd never get. Nina smiled. Boring sounds kind of awesome, she said. Kara leaned her head on Glenn's shoulder. For the first time, she whispered, I'm actually excited to grow old. He kissed her hair. Same, he said, as long as we do it together. Nina rolled her eyes. Okay, that's enough cheesy lines for one day, she said. Save some cringe for Bean's first birthday. They laughed. The kind of laugh that comes at the end of a storm, not because everything's perfect, but because you survived, because you're still here to see what happens next.
All right, I'm going to wrap it here. If this story touched you even a little, hit like, smash that subscribe button, and turn on all notifications so you never miss the next one. Drop a comment and tell me, today, are you more like Roberto or more like Leah? I read everything you guys write. Love you all. See you in the next story.